If you're following Depp and Heard, you might know who this guy, Dan Wootton, is. Dan Wootton was a higher up at The Sun who wrote some not nice things about Johnny Depp not so long ago. Dan used his power of influence in the British media to smear Johnny. And now it seems Dan's got some allegations out on him. Now, I thought it was this one person, maybe two, but it seems like there's multiple people coming out here. It seems like the plot's thickening, but not in a way Dan would want it to thicken. This here's by the Byline Times, and there's something very special about this article. It's from July 17th, 2023, but it's not written by the usual journalist. It's written by two people who worked with Dan. So when you see an article, it's written by someone across the country, across the world. You got to take things with a grain of salt. And I'm not saying this is all truth because they knew Dan, but it's a source close to him. So it's definitely the next step up from some random journalist. Anyway, it's called GB News Star Dan Wootton Unmasked in Cash for SEXUAL Images Catfishing Scandal. That just sounds so delicious. I could eat it up. I could drink it up. We're going to have a good article here. GB News presenter and Mail Online columnist Dan Wootton hid behind fake online identities to trick and bribe scores of men into revealing compromising sexual material Byline Times can reveal in the first part of a 3-year special investigation. What do you know? 3-year special investigation? I thought this was going to be some allegations. It's going to come and go. Maybe Dan will take his little break from the TV show or something, but then come back because nothing happened. But it seems like this is a deep rabbit hole that might keep going for a while, and it might affect Danny Boy here. The 40-year-old broadcaster and self-styled voice against woke culture, whose show, Dan Wootton Tonight, is the biggest ratings winner on the UK's 4th most watched news channel, targeted journalistic colleagues, friends, and members of the public for at least 10 years. That's what I'm talking about. I didn't know exactly how long it had been going on, how many people, but the claim now has gotten much bigger. The claim now is 10 years. Byline has extensive evidence. Wait, what was that word? Oh, evidence. That's what I was looking for. Evidence to show that between June 2008 and 2018, Wootton, who is gay, posed as a fictitious show business agent called Martin Branning to offer sums of 30,000 euros tax-free to his targets, many of whom were heterosexual men. And it makes perfect sense because he's got a name out there. He's Dan Wootton. He can't come to them as Dan Wootton. Of course not. So there you go. I would put that in my believe it category. Among them, a very senior executive at Rupert Murdoch's News UK alongside at least 6 other staff members at the Sun newspaper, one with close links to News UK CEO Rebecca Brooks, friends, Facebook associates, and users of the dating apps Grindr and Gaydar. And they say criminal complaints were made against Branning before people knew who Branning was, supposedly. They say they've got a 28-page police report from an investigation on June 20th, 2023. They also say this case here has racked up about 18 million views, which isn't incredibly huge so far, but it just started about a week ago or something like that as far as the main allegations. As a result, this newspaper today is publishing some details of our findings. We have identified 5 co-conspirators along with a representative group of around a dozen victims. However, sources suggest the true figure extends to many, many more men. They also say Dan's been off air. I heard that too. I heard that on Twitter, but I wasn't sure if it was confirmed. But it seems like he's gone off air, at least for a little while. I wonder why. Maybe he's thinking about what to do, what to say, freaking out a little bit. Oh, I don't know. They say this person, Hugh Doling, not sure exactly who he is covering the story, and he called it a nuclear bomb. They also say that GB News continues to promote Wootton's program as if nothing happened, it seems. I mean, fair enough. I can't be somebody who says, let me see the proof, evidence, 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 but then turn around and say, get rid of him, he did it. So, okay, fair enough. They haven't seen evidence yet. They're still promoting his show. But let's see what happens. According to this here, Dan's former colleagues say there's evidence. They mention Dan has, or had perhaps, great power and influence in British media, which is why he was probably so intimidating to these people. He could snap his fingers and ruin or damage a career really badly. And I guess we've got some irony here moving forward. And they say that Dan was scared of being exposed as this Martin Branning person. So he said to a friend, a trusted former colleague, they describe it as, that he was scared to be found out. Sounds like someone ready to testify in court. And then they say this person who's married with children was offered 10,000 euros tax-free for posing in their birthday suit, which I don't understand. I mean, you could just go online and see naked pics if you want. Why offer someone $10,000? All right, I guess that's what Dan's into, this crazy stuff. They go on to say that the second victim got messages day and night, as if someone had nothing better to do. Okay. They describe some of the messages, 30,000 euros for pictures in the birthday suit. They go on to say there was a third victim, and this third victim revealed they were willing to talk to the police. And they should. I suggest that. And they mention a fourth victim. So it seems like with this fourth victim that Martin Branning wasn't directly contacting them. Maybe there was somebody also in on it with Martin Branning here. But nonetheless, they connect this as a fourth victim of you-know-who. They mentioned some things I've covered before about how Dan visited some family in New Zealand, and one of his accusers found some things that weren't so nice. A hard drive, a transcript, things we are yet to see, but hopefully will come out. They mention the video here, and they end by saying that their evidence of 28 pages is in the hands of the police. Hopefully, the police who will do the right thing, not lose it or anything like that, and put it out there. Anyway, as you can see, there's a lot to take in here. If I cover this word for word, the video will be like an hour. But I think I hit the most important parts, and I'll be covering things as they go on, and I'll be waiting for that evidence we need, the video, the 28-page details, things like that. So I gotta say, Danny boy, we're not out of the woods yet, but we're happy to be in the woods. Let's get lost in the woods and go on this adventure of finding out who Martin Branning really is. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad about it, but I'll get over it. Done here for now. See you next time.